Continuing with hedging, we have the original risk profile of Anglo-American, and then if we want to hedge out the downside risk, we would use either selling a forward, which as we can see would cancel out both the upside and the downside risk, and leave us with basically a straight line. If we just want to get rid of the downside risk, we can buy a put, and that would cancel out only the downside risk and leave us with the dotted red line. These are the typical instruments that we're going to talk about creating. There are infinite numbers of different types, but those are the ones we're going to focus on. So the general rules. Firstly, always start at the bottom, so at 0. The second is if you're hedging from one point to another, and it goes on into infinity, it's one instrument. If you're hedging from one place to another, you need one instrument to start the hedge and one to stop it. Don't forget the cost of options, that you need to bump down the graph for that cost. And always ask, why are we doing this? What is the reason for this structure? Because that's likely to be the next part of the question. And I'll answer that last piece right at the end. So, if we're looking at creating a structure, that is what we're going to use. Our forwards and our call and put options. That's all we need as our tools. Okay. If we're trying to create the straddle, which was on the previous diagram, all we need to do is have a long call, okay, and a long put. Okay, so there's my long call, there's my long put, and the two costs together end up making the black line being underneath those two because we add those two costs together. Okay, if we go back and say let's go and create another one. We are going to create, let's do the short condor, so the one at the bottom. So if we want to create that, what we need to do is remember the rules, start at the bottom. So if we are starting at the bottom, we're going to say, firstly we need a straight line at that point over there, and then we need it to go up. Okay, so that would be buying a call. But we can see we needed to stop at the second point. So if we needed to stop at that point over there, we need a second instrument. It's hedging between 2 points, one of the other rules. So we need a second instrument to come in over there. It mustn't affect the rest of the diagram. We only want to get rid of that upside to get the black straight line, so we need something that goes down. So at that point, that will cancel with that, and we'll end up with the black straight line. Then we have to do the second part of the diagram. So again, we need something that doesn't affect the rest of the structure. So we basically need a straight line all the way over there. Okay, but then we do need it to go up. That would be, look at that structure, the blue line, it is buying a put. But again, we need it to stop at that point over there. So what do? We go and we get a second instrument, okay, to stop it. So we need it to go down, because we need that to cancel with that, so that we stay on the black line. Okay, but we mustn't affect the rest of the structure. So again, we need it to be a straight line. Remember again, one of the rules was that these things will have costs. So every single one of those will have costs. So some of them will actually be benefits. So the buy call and the buy put will cost me money. The sell call and the sell put will actually bring in money. So those will bump the diagram back up. But we'll deal with valuation in a separate lecture.